Firstly, I'd like to thank Collective Win for this wonderful opportunity. I commend your efforts in the direction of women empowerment and applaud your reach in this particular initiative. And for the same, I am willing to contribute in whichever way I can to serve the organization's purpose. Hi, everybody. I am Advocate Shruti Bapat, a lawyer based out of Pune. My practice mainly extends to the corporate side of the law, wherein I take care of the company's in house legalities, along with acting as a bridge between the organization and third parties. On pursuing a master's at Georgetown Law in Washington, D.C., I was recruited by the topmost law firm in India, Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. Thereon, I went on to receive refined and valuable experience at the Secretariat of the International Chambers of Commerce in Hong Kong. In 2017, I ventured into commercial corporate practice, focusing my interest in the areas of company contracts, intellectual property, mergers and acquisitions, and real estate. And I was actually fortunate to work with organizations who weren't only based out of India, but even those who were headquartered in the United States, Germany, Switzerland, as well as several Southeast Asian countries. I come from a family of third generation real estate entrepreneurs. My grandfather actually constructed the first airport in Aurangabad, and I saw him reach work at 9 a.m. every morning until the age of 90. My father took his business to new heights, conquering both residential as well as industrial real estate in Maharashtra. While watching them grow up, while I was growing up, I watched them every single day struggling, and that I think subconsciously programmed me to have a very strong work ethic. Even so, before commencing corporate practice, I underwent several years of training while working with judges at the Bombay High Court as well as at top law firms in Mumbai. I think this professionally rich experience of working with the who's who of the legal industry here in India helped me hone my skills and polish my practice to consequently set a strong foundation and equip me with the confidence to make an autonomous start. However, that was not enough a nudge to get me started. I remember I had quit my job just a little before I got married. And so when I moved into my husband's house, I was, for the very first time in my life, unemployed. I had absolutely no idea of what I intended to do. As I had poured in most of my savings into the wedding and I was too ashamed to ask my father for money, I built up the courage to approach my husband to ask for some cash one day. That right there was the turning point of my life. I took the money and I told him that this was the last time this transaction was ever going to happen. And that was it. The exciting phase of my life was about to begin. With no experience of sales, marketing, or even finance, I just decided to take the plunge. I would wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, make a list of people I knew and had to speak with, ran around the city pitching my work to companies, and spent each evening with friends getting advice on how to run and create a successful and long lasting business. I think I got my first client right after, and in about 4 or 5 months, I was probably earning 3 times more than I was at the topmost law firm in the country. I think it was all because I had picked myself up and lived each day surpassing my expectations. I believe that the most important skill one should have today is the skill to keep themselves motivated. And that is the skill I cherish the most in me. You are your biggest cheerleader is something that I have always believed in. So it's very important to have an optimistic and motivating self talk. Your mind needs to be an absolutely positive place to be in. And for that to happen, you have to love what you do and you have to be surrounded by people who are motivating, reliable, and encouraging. So if you're stuck at home in a situation where you're unhappy or even at work, it's hugely important that you find the courage and confidence to make that change, because nothing changes without action. Don't be afraid to start over, because this time you're not starting out of scratch, but you're starting out of experience. I think starting off on my own was the best decision I made in my life. Being an expert in your field does not necessarily mean that you will make a remarkable entrepreneur. Along with the core skill you're required to have to run your business, you need to be adept at managing finances, marketing and advertising your work, attending networking meetings and events, hiring employees, and so much more. While I was equipped with the essential service of my organization being law, I had to learn these hard skills on the way ahead. Every day was a challenge I was excited to take on. It was very easy for me to lose that drive in the process, but I just had to go on. My ultimate goal was way more important to me than these silly excuses, and that's where self motivation really came to my rescue. I would take some time out each week to sit with friends or family who were experts in their respective areas and understand the nuances of business from their standpoint. With each day, my confidence grew, and that helped me venture out into areas which I think would have always been a distant dream had I continued to work a 9 to 5. I slowly expanded my corporate practice to family law and real estate litigation. And in my first case, I helped bring justice to a group of 150 distraught buyers against a renowned builder in Pune. Each small victory was a boost of confidence. It's really funny how important a role our minds play in our lives. Whatever you hold in your mind will tend to occur in your life. If you continue to believe as you have always believed, you will continue to act as you've always acted. And if you continue to act as you've always acted, you'll continue to get what you've always gotten. So if you want different results in your personal or professional lives, all you have to do is change your mindset. It's just that simple. It's when I changed my mindset is when my life began to change. One other skill I was always armed with, which also goes hand in hand with confidence, is that since childhood, I was always known to be very fearless. I was in class 4, I believe, when I first traveled to a different city all by myself to represent my school at the district level basketball championship with 13 other girls who were much older than I was. Taking up a challenge and doing something out of the box was never really a big deal for me. On completing a master's at Georgetown, when I received an opportunity to work in Hong Kong, my parents questioned my decision several times, but an unknown language in a strange land were really never first factors for me. And now, when I look back, that decision of making an unknown territory my home was, I think, the most amazing decision I ever made. It shaped me into the person that I am today and gave me the confidence to call this entire world my stage. I think while the presence of social media is very much needed in our day-to-day lives, in my opinion, the age-old practice of building strong interpersonal relationships with peers, family, or friends is the backbone to a long and prosperous entrepreneurial career. My father, although a pioneer in his field, is known to be dependable and amicable, and it was he who taught me to build long lasting, deep relationships. I have seen him interact with laborers on site with the same humility and love as he would at large gatherings of affluent people. Even today, I make it a point to stay in touch with all my former peers, subordinates, managers, and even professors at my universities here in India and abroad. Not only does that help me strengthen and expand my professional circle, but I think it also aids me in staying updated at the professional front. However, having said so, LinkedIn is a fantastic platform which has made the entire world accessible to me and everybody else. Not only has it helped me significantly in bagging new opportunities and increasing my clientele, but it's also helped me expand my practice beyond these geographical limitations. Um, India, as you would know, is a closed legal market in terms of business development, and therefore making it increasingly difficult for lawyers to sell and market their services in order to generate revenue. So we're forced to resort to innovative techniques, and LinkedIn for me has certainly been a front runner. I think, like any other industry, nepotism was a tough obstacle to clear. Coming from a family of real estate entrepreneurs, I had no background, backing, or reference in the area of law. While some of my friends had landed jobs at the topmost firms in India, I was finding it difficult to get myself even an interview. So I remember I would travel to Mumbai once every week to personally visit law firms and hand them over my resume to make a lasting impression. As a fresh graduate from law school, I had that initial excitement and enthusiasm to enter the real world. But before finding myself that job at Solomon and Company in Mumbai, I had hit a wall enough to drive me to the edge. However, having a support system back then really helped me cruise through that initial trying time. My husband, then boyfriend, had started off on his own career path around the same time. And that really helped us both understand and be there for each other. I think one other encounter I frequented after commencing corporate practice was that in my initial days of struggle, I had come across clients who would take me, a young, struggling woman, for granted and get tasks which were way out of the agreed scope of work done from me. I found myself in this tricky situation a lot of times. But I think one day all I did was stand my ground, communicate the confusion clearly and confidently. Sometimes I agree it took more than a few meetings to get the desired result. And falling prey to my emotions was always an easier route for me. However, I'd consciously decide to remain zen and patiently handle the situation instead. I think plenty of such different and difficult experiences will help you mold into a successful entrepreneur. Such trying times certainly get the best out of us. They got the best out of me, and I'm extremely, extremely grateful for all of them. Also, one last thing, I faced some difficulties which were also internal. Uh, like they say, no one can destroy iron, but its own rust can. Similarly, nobody can destroy a person, but his own mind can. So when I started off independently, everything was a test I was scared to take on, but I had to change that mindset that I wasn't good enough. I began to journal, read motivational books, and just interact with other entrepreneurs and draw out of their experiences. I learned a lot in that process. It took time, and honestly, I am still working on myself, but I've learned to never give up. No matter how bad things are, we need to realize that it's just a passing phase and that we're never going to have that feeling forever. So this honestly even applies to the situation we're all in today. It's particularly important to have an affirmative mindset to sail through this rough phase in our lives. I think something basic yet important, which I am extremely grateful to have experienced, is to establish a strong foundation in your profession prior to venturing out into corporate practice. Strenuous hours, working under excessive pressures, adapting to different working styles, and collaborating with people of diverse mindsets. I know that all sounds grueling. However, it's absolutely necessary to undergo before setting foot into the world by yourself. I would strongly suggest seeking qualitative experience in your field and building a solid base to ensure a powerful and thriving entrepreneurial future. Also, I would urge you to manifest your dreams and ideas. One easy way to do that would be to have a vision board. Another way to accomplish that is to practice the art of savers. I had read this book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, which speaks about this 30-minute morning ritual comprising of silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. I have been committed to it since more than 2 years now, and it has really helped me to stay inspired, encouraged, and hungry for more. I had strongly recommend giving that book a read and mastering the art of manifestation. It really helps. Uh, I think lastly, I would advise you to not fall for society pressures. Unfortunately, our society works in a way that undermines the strength and capabilities of women at every juncture. And we're forced to prove our worth at every step of the way. There are going to be plenty of crabs who will try to pull you down, belittle you, prove your worth, discourage you, and make you question your self belief time and again. But that should certainly not be a roadblock limiting your progress. I think never ever give up. Nobody will be coming to save you. So be your own hero and absolutely believe in yourself because you are amazing. We're all amazing.